We're joined on the podcast by an Irish country music phenomenon. His music career began with him taking up the accordion at the age of 4 and seeing him play the Three Arena to a sold-out audience. He wants your mother to rock him gently like a wagon wheel. Nathan Carter, you're very welcome to the Two Johnnies podcast.
Thanks very much. Delighted to be here.
I feel so professional after doing these intros. You know, it gives me a whole different sense.
We were just saying that you have heard the podcast, and thank you for still agreeing to come on, even after hearing it. I have to ask you, you started playing music very young, we're told.
Yeah, 4 years old. My granddad taught me a couple of tunes on the piano accordion back in Liverpool, and I've gradually got worse every year since I've played it. So yeah.
So was it the trad or the country, or where did you start saying music?
It was trad, yeah. Playing in Flaky Olds, used to enter the competitions. I was in a Cayley band growing up, sent for Irish dancing lessons, but I was quickly sent home. I was rubbish. So
no way.
Yeah, it was shocking. So sent home and stuck to the playing of trad, and used to compete every year. Went to nearly every All-Ireland Flaff till I was like 16.
On the accordion?
Competed in singing, accordion, Cayley band, played the piano in the Cayley band as well as the accordion some years. And but the country stuff was always in the background. My granddad used to play records of Johnny Cash, Dolly, Willie Nelson, and of course because my mum's side of the family are all from Northern Ireland, like the likes of Philomena Begley, Susan McCann, Big Tom, all them sort of show band singers were played as well. So grew up surrounded by all this stuff. Probably was the oddest kid at school because I knew all this stuff and my friends definitely didn't.
Were you the only kid in school like into country music?
Definitely, yeah.
Where did you go to school? In Liverpool?
In Liverpool, yeah. And so there was trad music and country music, which was the most oddest combination of all time.
You think that's odd? My mum used to dress me up as Gareth Brooks and make me come out of ladies' toilets in the pub with a full guitar and her boots on and everything, a cowboy hat. So you know,
I got friends.
Yeah. It's not
in low places.
It's not that strange, and I'm still obsessed with them to this day. So.
And then when was the first Nathan Carter gig?
I left school when I was just turned 17.
Were you finished school?
I did some of my GCSEs, then I left. I didn't stay on.
Rock and roll, man.
And my mum and dad were going a bit mad because they wanted me to stay, obviously, and get a better education. But I was getting regular gigs at that stage, and I got a residency in a pub in Liverpool called the Liffey, obviously an Irish pub, and used to play there every Sunday, and was getting great money for a 17-year-old to go and do a couple of hours of singing.
On your own?
On my own, yeah. Just me and a piano and a guitar, and used to sing all the old Irish classics, Wild Rover and Tell Me Ma, all that sort of stuff, you know.
And then you were gigging as Nathan Carter?
I just kept doing it, and it went quiet for a bit, you know, after about 6 months of doing it, so I had to go and work on building sites with my dad. My dad's a joiner. Wow. So I did that for 9 months, which was shockingly bad. It was just, I just feel so much for lads that have to get up at 6 a.m. to go and work, and like then it was January, February, March. It was cold mornings, you know. Me standing there like shoveling usual stuff.
I often think that, like, when we're heading to the petrol station, you see lads in high vis heading out, like, and it's just starting to lash rain, and I think, like, you know, oh no, we're on tour, like, we're really busy. Then I think, it's better than that. Like,
it's
great.
Yeah, it makes what I do now seem like, a lot of people say, how'd you go? You know, you'd be on tour for 3 or 4 weeks, and you're flying every day and doing interviews, and then the gig, and I said, well, you know, I'd much rather be doing this than stuff you don't like doing, you know, because I do actually like doing what I do. I'm very lucky to be able to do it. So.
How many gigs a year would you be doing roughly?
Probably about 140 at the this year.
Wow. No, the tax man's not listening. You can work away.
That'll be 95.
That is some amount of gigs, that.
To be honest, I used to do a lot more. When I was doing the dance sort of scene around the dance halls in Ireland, I would have been doing 200 gigs a year. Would have been every weekend, do 3 or 4. Whereas now we do, you know, we might do a tour for 2 or 3 weeks and do 10, 12 dates, and then I might be off for a couple of weeks and then go back and do some more. But we do a lot more traveling now in America, Germany, going to Spain, all across the UK, and of course Ireland is my home, so I do a lot of stuff here. So.
Can we ask you about, I suppose the breakthrough was surely Wagon Wheel, was it?
Yeah.
To go from...
It started getting big for me in the north of Ireland first, and there was a lot of younger people getting into country stuff then. And then a year or 18 months after that, developed that sort of following the younger generation. I released Wagon Wheel, and it sort of broke me down south and all across Ireland. And it went from me just getting played on. That's the chair, by the way. Just wondering what the squeaking is. It went from me getting played on just the country shows to then getting daytime radio and played on pop stations, which I'd never been. Obviously, country doesn't get played on pop.
Yeah,
it does nowadays. I suppose with the like of Taylor Swift, and what's that track Jared was talking about before? It's like a new thing with Billy Ray Cyrus. At the minute,
yeah,
it's huge,
Old Town Road.
That's
yeah,
the one. So it happens maybe once every 10 years. But I was very lucky with Wagon Wheel. It was being played on daytime radio, and I was getting like at the time it was Snapchats and Twitter videos of people in coppers, rocking out to Wagon Wheel, so.
Oh man, I used to be in a wedding band, and that was all I was getting for a year or two. Was like, "Do rock me, mama."
Funny enough, loads of kids that come to the gig, they don't actually call it Wagon Wheel, they call it Rock Me Mama. So it's a strange name for a song,
Audience really like you're changing the game of country. It's such a young following as well as
it was unusual, I suppose. I suppose it helped that I'm still only in my 20s, but it helped that I was young,
handsome.
Well, I don't know about that, but I suppose being the young factor, it hadn't really been done with anyone young in Ireland for probably a long time,
It's hard for teenage girls to fancy Jimmy Buckley, like.
Poor Jimmy. He's a friend of mine.
But it was amazing today when we said we're going to interview you that Johnny's mum got really excited, and then my 13-year-old sister was freaking out, like, and I was like, no, you're not coming, like. But it's amazing that it's got that wide an audience, like, and it's credit to you.
It's
you can probably see the change, like.
Yeah, and I didn't really expect it, to be honest. I mean, I was gigging in pubs obviously since I was in my teens, and all I want to do was make a living at it and be able to make a good wage and be able to have a comfortable life singing, because for me this is what I love doing. But to, as you said in the intro, to go like play in the 3 Arena and see that sort of thing, and then I got a TV show on RTE for a couple of years. That was stuff that I didn't really assume would ever happen, so I'm been very lucky along the way that the fans have given me the opportunity to do it. So.
Because I think the country fans, the people who go to country gigs, they approach it differently to, Electric Picnic or Longitude. Like the people, where are you playing tonight?
I'm doing a hall in Waterford, in Cap Quinn.
Now, describe that audience to us tonight. Who will be there tonight?
So tonight there'll be, I'd say, 60 to 70% majority of the more mature age group, should we say, and there will be some younger ones as well at the show. But it's a concert, so it's a sit-down show.
Sit and enjoy it,
So it'll be a general the stuff that I've recorded through the years, but it won't be the same sort of show that I will be doing on Sunday, for example, where I'm doing a festival in Louth.
That'll be lively.
That'll be near Carlingford, a place called Cooley. So that'll be, probably a lot younger, and we'll do a more upbeat program, and it'll be outdoor. So fingers crossed the weather stays good for us. But I mean, it literally, I do a lot of different types of shows. And in different places, different venues. But for me, I know it's been said 1,000 times, but a gig is a gig. It doesn't actually matter where it is. It's the people that make the gig. And, I've had some of the best nights in pubs, Literally,
that's all we,
and that's just standing at the bar.
But do you have any, like, hardcore fans, like Nathan super fans now? Yeah,
I definitely would. There's a certain amount of, and they're generally all female, that come along to 99% of the shows. No matter, like, I was in Liverpool last week doing a gig, a load of them came over from Northern Ireland and flew over for the night, stayed, and then went back, and then they'll be there all 3 gigs this weekend.
And do you try and go up and say hello to them, or what do you do?
I do. I generally do a meet and greet after nearly every show. So if I'm allowed, we did Tato Park. Was that last week? I think it was last week, and we weren't allowed to do a meet and greet, which was pretty unusual because there was acts like Atomic Kitten and M People, and of course they weren't doing it, so they just said no one's allowed to do meet and greets. So the ones who follow me all the time, I had to then put on Instagram, sorry guys, no meet and greet tonight, but sure you'll know next time. But
do you try and do a meet and greet then after every show?
If I can, I will do. Because I mean, there's a lot of people that travel, spend a lot of money between hotels, travel, food, and then the gig ticket as well. I mean, it costs people a lot of money to come out to a show nowadays, so I mean, for me to get a picture with them, that's generally all they want, and it only takes less than a minute.
Yeah,
you know, so it's
But
not.
would you have like hardcore fans now? Have you seen any like Nathan tattoos or anything now?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 that have come up to me at the gig. One very embarrassing moment was this lady had got. I didn't know what it was, but she came up to me and there was this huge face around this area, not on the nipple, like slightly above, but she showed me, and she was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, lovely. Who is it?"
Oh no!
But it was me.
Oh
So
no!
I was like, "Oh God, this is really embarrassing." But obviously, it was just in this area. It was just the face didn't look that familiar to me, you know. So it was just a bit embarrassing. It's you. What do you mean? Of course, it's you.
I tell you, I would pay some of our fans if they wanted to get our faces tattooed on them. That's for sure.
But yeah, the country music scene like is a mad scene. Like there's kind of a dress code that goes with it. Like it's a whole scene outside of, like you said, it's not on the radio a lot of the time. Like you must meet all kinds of people, or is there like different kinds of country in that? Like if you talk about rock, you got like punk rock, pop rock, you know, classic rock. So what's the different genres of country from like Marty Moan to Daniel O'Donnell? Like how do you describe all the different genres in it?
I don't really know. I think the Irish brand of country music is a lot different to, for example, the American brand of country, which nowadays is Maren Morris. No longer Taylor Swift. She is pop, but you know that type of new American wave of country music with Brett Young and Carrie Underwood, it's very much pop rock. You know, or soft rock. That's what they actually call it now. It's soft rock, but it's still labelled as country. So I mean, that's a lot different to, like you're just saying, Marty Moan's Hit the Diff. I mean, they you know, it's worlds apart. But I mean, I guess people in rural areas can definitely associate with the Irish type of country music. It's a lot about, you know, the agricultural side of things, whereas the Americans, all they're talking about is beer and drinking, and which also go very well this side, but more about the trucks and the bikini tops and fishing and all that
Daisy
sort of
Dukes
stuff,
and stuff. Yeah, you won't find them in Drumshanbo now. You know?
I wanted to ask you your thoughts on, because to me, like Hit the Diff was a phenomenon and has almost changed the game in country again. In that it's so mad and funny in Irish that I think, like say when we were growing up, a lot of country music in Ireland probably had one eye in America. Would that be fair to say?
Definitely, yeah.
Taking a bit of influence. But Hit the Diff came on and it's so mental and Irish that and now a lot more country is kind of having to crack, having to laugh. Very Irish, tractors and all. Yeah. Would you have seen, is that fair to say?
Definitely, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, when I started out 12 years ago, that was not there, you know what I mean? I'd say the last time that happened was Brendan Shine about 30 or 40 years ago, singing about, you know, the spuds and the carrots and the you know, which was generally very comical and light-hearted, and very, which is now again what it is. It's about farming and the crack and Hit the Diff and all that stuff. So I guess it just stopped for a bit of a generation, and now it's kind of coming back, you know. Like
we were just chatting before you came, and we're saying, like, are you responsible for making country cool? Because like when we were growing up as a young lad of like when we were 18, 19, there's no way we would go and let anybody see us dance. You know, or whereas now you see young lads 18, 19, 20 and the whole way up, they're all able to dance. Jive. They're all well able to, you know, chat to girls and ask them up dancing.
Like, we'd manage a bit of that now.
Yeah, we'd manage that, but like after, you know, copious amounts of alcohol. But like you have to be some way responsible for that, as in making it cool. It seems cool now. Country's cool.
Yeah, well, it's really strange to me because I was definitely not that cool growing up. Yeah. And even in my teens, the lads were getting a lot more girls than I was because they were probably dressing way better than I was.
You'll make up for it, yes.
Thankfully, it's changed a little bit. But I mean, I still had my what were the jeans called? The wider jeans, the
flares.
No, they weren't flares.
Boot cuts.
Boot cuts. Yeah.
Yes, sure. Marty Moan still wears them. Come on.
But you know, I was still wearing them, and all the lads down probably in the cities were wearing the slim cuts. You know? But so it's, I mean, it's ironic that I guess if people say I made it cool whenever I don't actually consider myself anyway cool, really, you know what I mean? But you know, generally I've been lucky that there's been companies like EJ's in Sligo. Don't know if you know them there. Great clothes shop. Give them a plug. Yeah,
he's a gas man.
He's great. His social media, Facebook page is absolutely hilarious. When he's got a sale on, he's either riding a horse down the main street, or he's driving in through his shop and on a scooter or a Honda 50 or something. There's another song that was actually a bit of a
Honda
bit of a
50,
hit.
yeah.
Honda 50, yeah.
Seamus Moore.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's I've been lucky enough that people generally, I get sent clothes now every now and again. So they say, put that on, you'll look a bit better, you know. So I stick to that.
Getting some guidance.
Like we're talking about that, getting bigger crowds at it, and radio. Like, do you think it'll ever be mainstream? Like, will you hear the big stations playing country music? Because
I don't think so.
It is popular.
Yeah, it is popular, but it's a niche as well. Especially in Ireland, it's a niche. But in the people who follow it are mad about it. You know, they're really hardcore. And the thing with pop music is generally it goes out of fashion pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know, a song can have a lifespan of, you know, a year or two max. Generally, it doesn't happen that long. And then it'll die. Whereas in country music, if it's a good song, it will stick around for a long, long time, and people will still listen to it and still dance to it or still play it. So, the ones who follow country are really hardcore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to ask you about your fans and that your trip to the Costa.
Yeah.
Character on the Costa.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Can you tell us about this?
Yeah. So, it's been done a lot of times with different singers in Ireland, especially that have ran their own trip to the sun. So I started mine about 6 years ago. We called it Carter on the Costa. It happened in Benalmadena, and the first year we ran it, it was good. It went well, but there was a few hiccups.
Go on.
Over a poor lady on the first night fell down the stairs, so she was in agony. So we had to get her sent to hospital. So this was the first night of our trip. The same
good
night,
start.
our outdoor. We set up a stage outdoor, full rig, PA, line array flown, the lights, moving heads all on the back. Didn't a thunderstorm start that night? Yeah. So we had to stop the show. Literally all the people that were on the trip that had paid to come in were helping us load the equipment into the hotel because the heavens just opened.
Well, you get to meet Nathan Carter.
Yeah. I was there, moving heads, speakers, amp, trying to carry everything in. So it was a rocky start, you know. But the last few years have been really good fun. It's a bit mental if you've never been before. It's literally myself and the band in a hotel. Outdoor stage, indoor stage, dancing going on. Yeah, a lot of drinking. Near the beach. Yeah. And I bring a lot of singers along with me.
Are you looking for two?
You could do the next podcast from there.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
A Carter on the Costa podcast with all the country music singers there as well.
That'd be heaven.
So.
You have to get bootcut shorts, man.
Yeah.
What else do you want to ask you? Oh yeah, about the shows.
Yeah.
You started off doing a lot of covers.
Yeah.
But you've moved now to it's nearly all your own, is it?
I write a lot of my own stuff now, yeah. Which has been a gradual stage.
You kind of have to bring people along with you a bit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky that the covers had a few hits, and Wagon Wheel being the biggest one. But, you know, I kind of never tried to do it like the original. If you're going to cover something, you have to definitely change it and make it your own and do that. But at the same time, I always wanted to have my own sort of songs recognised as well. So I've been lucky that the last few albums have had a lot of my own work. And at the live show, I do a lot of the ones that I know will go down well. You know, so.
But isn't that the thing for a guy starting? Let's just say Johnny Smacks here wants to be a country singer.
Yeah.
If he goes up day one, say he's probably on a support bill, a couple of acts playing and a house band maybe. If he starts singing all his own songs,
he's going to die.
He's going to die?
He's going to die on his hole. Yeah.
You nearly have to start
it's
with
really
covers.
Unfortunate, and I wish it wasn't that way. I really do, but it's really hard. And unless you're in a folk club or you're in a singer-songwriter night and you've got everyone who's actually into the stuff, it's impossible for an act to go and sing their own songs for half an hour, 45 minutes and win over a crowd. It's very, very, very unusual that happens, you know.
When we were researching for your interview, we came across a piece that says that you weren't immediately sold on Wagon Wheel. Is this true?
Yeah. I thought it was annoyingly
brilliant.
It was annoyingly catchy.
Yeah.
And I said I think it had some. I thought it had something, you know. And I went in the studio because the version I'd heard was obviously the Old Crow Medicine Show, which was a hit for them in the States and not so much over here though, but or in the UK. But it's a bluegrass song and it's banjo and it's fiddle and that's about it really, and an acoustic guitar and harmonies. So I went in and put drums and the squeeze box down and obviously we use fiddle and banjo as well, but made it a bit more less bluegrass and more country and hopefully a bit more mainstream. So when I recorded, then I was like, I think this probably could end up getting us, you know, a bit more play on mainstream stuff, and stuck it out there. It did go well at the start. I recorded a video on Rosnowla Beach in Bundoran in Donegal.
That's in Donegal? Man, it looks like LA. Who recorded that?
The LA of Donegal.
And I had a VW camper and all, and we just came up with a few wacky ideas, and the video took off. But the song was strange because it did well, and then it just sort of went downhill for a while, and then about 9 months later it got a revival again, and then started, and it just kept coming back.
It's word of mouth.
So yeah, and the whole social media thing wasn't as big about 6-7 years ago when I released that, you know, and then as that started creeping in, people on Facebook were sharing it, and then it just
takes off.
So I mean, social media has been a big help towards me. Now, don't get me wrong, it's also a pain in the ass sometimes with people who just want to, you know, give out to you and give you abuse, you know, give you abuse. But
what would people be saying to you?
Just people who not into the music or not into me, or they don't know me, and a lot of people get a perception of someone sometimes and just want to slag you, you know. So if you're in the public eye, that's the way it goes, you know.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. We get a bit of it too, and it's like, how did you have the time and effort?
I know
to find us first, and then
and then they spend 10 minutes or maybe long, probably a lot longer. Actually, they plan what they're gonna say, and then no, I'll delete that, and then they think, could you really be asked? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, they're out there.
You know, but listen, they're few and far between. Touch wood, and thank God that and at the end of the day, I just look at the ones that are enjoying whatever you put up, and
exactly,
it's normally 90 times out of 100 they're enjoying it. So
our favourite late of the year is always the country music special, and we were in Lanzarote. We went to work for 2 weeks. Now, we didn't get a whole pile of work done, but we came back to the apartment. We came back to the apartment to watch the country show. How wild is that backstage? And do we all go to Coppers afterwards?
Do you know what? It's been pretty reserved the last couple of years. Yeah, unfortunately. But, you know, I think that's because it's in RTE and everyone's kind of on their best behaviour. Like, if that was happening at a gig and all them people were there, it would be a piss up from, you know, till about 7 a.m. So, you know, but...
We'll have to move it out of RTE. Get the crack going all together.
I always find with them as well that everyone gets uptight and it becomes a very nervous thing. People aren't portrayed the way they actually are generally as well, you know, because they know there's probably going to be 1 million people in Ireland watching this, you know what I mean?
You don't have much time.
And there's no like pre-production or rehearsal really for anything. It's kind of just on the night it is, because it's live, as you all know. It's the Late Late Show live. So I just think if it was kind of done on a lower, not a lower budget, I mean like in a different venue that wasn't as...
bit more relaxed.
Yeah, it wasn't as formal. It would probably be a lot more fun to watch and enjoyable, you know.
Okay.
There's an idea in that.
I wanted to ask you, like you said about people online, whatever, one of the things that I suppose country would have been accused of was like Irish people singing in American accents or this kind of thing. Now, you don't do it. You sing... Now, you don't sing with a bit like thick Liverpool accent either.
Yeah.
But... does that drive you mad? If you probably still hear it, like some lad from Mayo gets up and he sounds like he's from Texas.
Yeah.
You have a brilliant example.
I can't name him. No, there's a local lad who has an absolute cowboy name, like, and then he has a real name too, you know. But
well, that does happen. I mean, I always find that it's strange. I was in the studio 2 days ago, and we had this exact conversation about UK and Irish acts that sing with a halfway between Dublin and New York accent for some reason.
Mid-Atlantic,
But that mid-Atlantic accent, but that's always happened. And I wasn't that aware of it until they started naming names like Elton John. Blue Jean Baby, L.A. late, you know, and Elton John sings with a full-on Yankee accent. Like, so Tom Jones, it's just happened, obviously Madonna through the years, and it's obviously that mid-Atlantic thing, but then I think the Irish, you know, if you're singing about Kentucky or something like that, you can't really sing it any other way
Kentucky.
than sounding Kentucky, there she is, standing there. You know, it just doesn't really... So it needs to be sang with that type of
vibe.
Yeah.
You've got some gigs coming up. You're in Killarney. You've got a big weekend in Killarney.
I do it every year. We do three gigs in the INEC, and I absolutely love the place. I've done it for 5 years now. Again, I bring in some guests. This year we've got like Cleona Hagan and Lisa McHugh, and I think Johnny Brady's there, and Philomena Begley's going to come and sing a few songs. So she's going to lay the blankets on the ground, and
you better not be on it.
You never know. Depends how many gins I've had.
So when's that on? That's on the 27th, 28th and 29th.
The last weekend in September.
Yeah.
It's a great spot. I mean, Killarney is actually my favourite place in Ireland.
Some town, isn't it?
If it wasn't so far south,
Yeah,
I would be living there.
Yeah.
But the problem is like commuting from there.
Can you get out for a few pints like that now, or would everyone be over for photos? And
I do go out a lot, you know. Yeah. Not every weekend, but I try and get out as much as I can. And now, don't get me wrong, if I was in Galway for a night, it's a bit of a nightmare. I did go to the Keys one night, and I literally was an hour getting to the bar trying to get drinks, and the first round was on me, so they were all calling me a tight bollocks. And I'm like, I'm trying to get to the bar, but can I get a? All right,
it's unreal. Like we'd be saying that with our friends. Like, if it's all around and we go to the bar, they just say, just give us your money and we'll go on stage.
Yeah.
They know like we'll be gone for half an hour.
Ages,
before we finish, we do a quick fire round with all of our guests. So
are you ready?
I am.
So
love
just
this,
literally
love this
just
kind of stuff.
fire it off. So, Tato or King Crisps?
Tato. Yeah.
Accordion or piano?
Accordion.
Foster or Allen?
That's a really tough one.
Come on.
Probably Tony Allen. Yeah, Tony.
Okay.
Daniel O'Donnell or Daniel O'Connell?
Daniel O'Donnell.
Liverpool or Everton?
Liverpool.
Yes.
Hurling or football?
I don't really follow either. I'll say hurling because you guys are.
You're making friends. Yeah.
The Saw Doctors or the Beatles?
The Saw Doctors.
Yes,
I
the Saw
love
Doctors.
it.
Custard creams or Micados?
Custard creams.
Love Island or Nationwide?
Love Island, unfortunately. Yeah.
Roy Keane or Roy Orbison?
Roy Orbison.
A Star Is Born or Bohemian Rhapsody?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Slayer or Megadeth?
Megadeth.
That's interesting. Okay.
Owen Kelly Tip or Owen Kelly from Waterford?
I don't know either.
Oh man.
Sorry.